Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill 2 are two premier hit games, with Silent Hill being the most recent release of the two. Even though these two games are both survival horror, both are more of an apples to oranges of comparison despite being in the same subgenre. Let's pit them against one another anyways to see which stands out more.
Alright then, let's go.
Resident Evil 4 Remake is the triumphantly received remake released early in 2023, taking Leon S. Kennedy for another ride years after the events in Resident Evil 2. Being sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter whilst managing to escape a new horror, this remake not only managed to recapture the main beats and glory of the original, but also was able to evolve what was there and craft it into a modern rendition, improving gameplay, visuals, narrative, and just about everything you can think of. The one thing that was likely impossible to surmount, the impact the original had on the entire gaming industry. Outside of that one unfair point, it kicked butt, becoming one of the best-selling games of the year, applauded by damn near everyone for being a perfected reimagining. Silent Hill in general has always been cast in Resident Evil's shadow. That's not saying it's a worse game, it's just never had the hype and popularity that the Resident Evil franchise has managed to obtain. Even though this remake also won't surpass Resident Evil 4 Remake, or most Resident Evil games in sales, I'll be one of many to tell you that if you value survival horror, with the emphasis on horror, this game is your ticket to experience that at its finest.
Run!
Resident Evil 4 Remake is action, a blockbuster action movie clinging onto the tagline of horror, whereas Silent Hill 2 is shrouded in a thick, dense fog of horror from near start to finish. Comparing these two side by side, keep in mind, Resident Evil 4 Remake released a year prior, and if we're being really technical, Resident Evil 4 really was first to create a full over-the-shoulder experience from start to finish. If you're going to imitate the grandfather's gameplay, you need to add originality to it in some fashion. Silent Hill 2 does what Resident Evil 4 Remake does, but with less. While Resident Evil 4 Remake has a multitude of combat options, an added satisfying to use parry system, which granted makes more sense for Resident Evil 4 than it does in Silent Hill 2, leaves Silent Hill 2 in a foggy cloud of dust. Silent Hill 2, you might think, if you've never played before, probably focuses more on everything else beyond combat, but I'd say there's a comparable amount in both. Silent Hill 2 very much focuses on small skirmishes, typically limited to about a max of 3 attacking at any given time. 1 is clearly the action game, but you'll be surprised at how often you find yourself dealing with enemies in Silent Hill 2. With the limited resources of options in Silent Hill 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake keeps the crown, still perched on the throne of victory. Because half of you care way too much about graphics, and the other half of you, like me, still think Nintendo 64 games are a style and history to be appreciated, not put down. Therefore, within 10 seconds, I award no points as both games look fantastic and I have no issues with either. But damn, there's a lot of fog that hides very well done environments in Silent Hill 2, making it harder to stay neutral when all you have is condensed soup blocking your view. Ironically, the story of both games are a grand search to find an individual. Resident Evil 4 remakes to rescue Ashley in Silent Hill 2's version, with James receiving a letter from his thought-to-be deceased wife, returning to Silent Hill to find out if by some miracle she is still alive. Now, Resident Evil 4 Remake is drastically straightforward, Leon must find Ashley and get the hell out. And that's just about what happens with a few speed bumps along the way. Silent Hill 2 is a mystery. It is not clear-cut. Nothing is meant to be obvious. The game continuously questions just about everything.
Could Mary really be here?
Is what's transpiring real?
Is she really alive?
Is she actually alive? Are the things I'm seeing and places I'm going to actually there? Questions upon questions. There is both quite literally and figuratively a cloud of doubt. If you enjoy the more mystery novel of an approach to story, with a more thorough dive into character self-reflection while also experiencing that great gameplay, Silent Hill 2 will scratch that itch. Sometimes though, when you're deciding between that fancy dinner experience or fast food, both are delicious in their own way. One is just a bit quicker to the point than the other. With all that said, this category really depends on your own preference. I personally preferred Resident Evil 4 Remake's more obvious approach. I felt content when everything was said and done. The characters are all memorable for varying reasons and have me hooked all the way through. Silent Hill 2, on the other hand, kept me on my toes intellectually throughout, but left a giant void of questions that mostly go unanswered. I struggled with finding characters to be engaging. I'm getting mocked and belittled by a frickin' child and constantly threatened by clouded judgment.
See a fart face?
Contrasted approaches, but to each their own. This is a category I typically don't bother with, not because it doesn't matter, but because I'm very tolerant of gaming audio. You have a shotgun sound for the shotgun, checked. Splendid, that's all I needed. Is there background music? Sweet, it seems fitting enough. It takes a lot for me to say a game has really good or conversely really bad audio or music. This is one of those times where it's too great to go without mentioning. Silent Hill 2's audio and music is so finely tuned, it stands out like that prickling sensation when a ghost tickles your neck. At times, Silent Hill 2 will use background noises even when no enemy is nearby, to keep the unnerving feeling that something is truly there, even if it isn't. If sound design is your jam, this may be one of the best to experience for that alone. Add in the timing of music, not just present to fill a void, but to accent a point. Music is used very sparingly in this game, and when it does arrive, you know it matters and you know there's either a reason or about to be good or bad. I know, you're tired. You skip to the end to get by the fluff. You want answers. I've meandered long enough. The verdict is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Perhaps this was never going to be a fair fight. Maybe this could have been David taking down Goliath, but in this instance, Goliath has the fairly clean stopping victory. I still absolutely recommend the hell out of playing Silent Hill 2 as it's a great game as well. I just didn't find it as finely tuned as the complete package that is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Let me know down in the comments what you think about each game. What does Silent Hill 2 or Resident Evil 4 Remake do better than the other? As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time on Hittobox.